The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Get your money mind right.
Yay! This part of Unlock Your Wealth Radio is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Thanks so much for stopping by, everyone. I'm Heather Wagenhals, your hostess with the Financial Mostess here at Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and I am flanked by the maestro of Mullah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
He is back in the saddle this week, and we are going to help you get your money mind right on today's episode with the following great features. So first off, we have our fourth key in the Keys to Riches, which is...
Knowledge is power. Not knowing is powerful.
Ding, 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 ding! Yay! We are almost to unconscious competency for you. We are almost at the fourth level of learning. How great is that?
I love that. Unconscious.
Yay!
What was that? Unconscious?
Competence.
That's
So you start out
Say
at
that 3
unconscious
times
incompetent. So which is you don't know what you don't know, which plays in perfect with this week's key. So we don't even know what we don't know. Like, for example, when we are kids, we ride in the car. We know a car takes us places, but we have no idea how we get there.
Right.
And then daddy puts you in his lap to drive, and then you're like, I know what happens in that seat over there, but I don't know what happens over here. Now you're consciously competent. You're like, oh my God. And then, like, once you get your learner's permit and your driver's license, you are now consciously competent because you're driving down the road and you're paying attention to the horizon line. You got the radio low and you're like, oh my gosh, highway hypnosis. So then you start checking your mirrors, scanning, checking your gauges, looking from your back mirror to your side view mirror, looking in your blind spot, always signaling hypervigilant. And then you evolve to the level of unconscious competency, which is when you get in your car and then you arrive at work after eating a moldy donut and some stale coffee. You sent 10 text messages. You narrowly avoided running over a coyote, and you managed to flip through the radio and rock out to your favorite tunes from the 80s, and you have no idea how you got to work.
Yeah.
You just ended up there.
Yeah.
So you're at that level.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're unconsciously competent now. You've got them all down. So no more cheat sheet. Next week, no cheat sheet.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But...
Well, let's start embedding it. Next week is take emotion out of the picture.
Okay. Let me see if I can... You know, it's association, I think. And I haven't done that yet. So you have to associate the number with the key. So
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I can do that.
I think you can. I have full faith and confidence in you.
Yeah.
So we also have our Mullah Word of the day, and it's going to be an investing word, so I'm excited about that. Plus, we're going to do our Freedom Fest recap, and we're going to talk to you about what's coming down the pipe next week. You're looking at me like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do?
No, you said coming down the pipe, and again, my age is showing, but we used to say coming down the pike.
Pike?
Yeah. Pike meaning a road, turnpike.
Oh.
Coming down the road. But your generation says pipe.
Yeah.
And I've heard it more
like
often.
a faucet. It's running.
Yeah.
I guess. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, then again, you grew up Northeast. I grew up Azarona.
What? Azarona?
Azarona. That's what we used to call it when we were little. Where are you from? Because, like sometimes when people would send me mail, like, I don't know if you ever had pen pals, but they would be like Arizona, AR, but that's Arkansas. See, we're AZ. So I'm like, no, AZ is in Azarona.
And you guys did not have turnpikes out here. Turnpikes are all in the east.
Yeah, I don't know what a turnpike is.
It's a highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have highways.
It's a road.
What kind of a road? Is it different from what we have here?
Well,
they used the word was used back in the Civil War quite a bit. In the Baltimore Pike, and that was the road to Baltimore from D.C. So,
Okay.
yeah, just what your listeners need to know.
Well, you know what? If it's going to further their financial freedom, by golly, they need to know it.
All right, moving on from geography.
Yes. Okay, so let's circle back to this week's key, shall we? So we are now at our fourth key in the Keys to Riches financial philosophy. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. We are so glad to have you. The Keys to Riches is a financial philosophy that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, building wealth while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And our Keys to Riches has become such a powerful segment that it actually became its own show. So if you want to know what this week's key is, you just need to check out our Monday show at unlockyourwealthradio.com, or better yet, you can visit the website where you can get all the tools, tips, and tricks that you need to deploy the Keys to Riches at keys-to-riches.com. So be sure to check out that show, because knowledge is power, not knowing is powerful is actually the foundation of the way we manage our money. And it's our 3-5 financial strategy. So there's 3 questions you need to ask and 5 areas of concern to address. And if you want to know more about that, again, visit keys-to-riches.com and just click on this week's show for the knowledge is power key. So, Mullah word of the day, shall we?
That's good.
Mutual fund. So the definition of a mutual fund is an open-ended fund operated by an investment company which raises money from shareholders and invests in a group of assets in accordance with a stated set of objectives. Mutual funds raise money by selling shares of the fund to the public, much like any other type of company can sell stock in itself to the public. Mutual funds then take that money they receive from the sale of their shares, along with any money made from previous investments, and use it to purchase various investment vehicles such as stocks, bonds, and money market instruments. So in return for the money they give to the fund when purchasing shares, shareholders receive an equity position in the fund and, in effect, in each of its underlying securities. So for most mutual funds, shareholders are free to sell their shares at any time, although the price of a share in a mutual fund will fluctuate, just like stock prices fluctuate daily, depending upon the performance of the securities held by the fund. So the benefits of mutual funds include diversification and professional money management. Mutual funds offer choice, liquidity, and convenience, but charge fees and often require a minimum investment. A closed-end fund is often incorrectly referred to as a mutual fund, but it is actually an investment trust. There are many types of mutual funds, including aggressive growth, asset allocation, balanced, blend, bond, capital appreciation, clones, closed, crossovers, equities, fund of funds, global funds, growth funds, growth and income, hedge fund, income fund, index fund, international fund, money market fund, mutual bond fund, prime weight fund, regional fund, sector fund, specialty fund, stock fund, and tax-free bond fund.
Yeah. And
Just a little list.
I'm a mutual fund guy, and my broker never told me all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm a fun guy too. Or a fun girl, I guess.
Are you really? Are you
Not quite
fun,
a guy.
Are you a fun person?
Oh, yeah. Because I don't have time.
Yeah.
To watch the markets
right.
each and every day. And nor do I want to, because I don't invest that way. I mean, it's not our job to day trade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Plus, when day trading became cost prohibitive, I got out of it. I did it for like a year. I sold my car. I didn't have a job for like a whole year. And it's just funny. Then they changed the laws on us, the tax laws, and you had to hold them and stuff like that. But I was flipping stock like there was no tomorrow. I found all my friends that had companies that were public. I just followed their stocks, and there were certain price points. And I didn't need to make a killing. See, that's where people make mistakes when they trade individual funds. They want to make like 200%.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? If I could just generate a little bit of income off of it.
30%'s not bad.
Yeah, 30% is not bad.
No.
But as a goal, if I saw that in any given day, something fluctuated between $10 and $15, that was the swing where I would go like 11 and 14. I would take just inside there. And so I would put a buy order in at 11, so I knew it was traveling up if it was low at 10. And then I would sell just before it would peak. So I would sell at the 14 if I knew it was going to 15. because I knew that I would get out. I knew there'd be a buyer for
Right,
my stuff.
right.
So I just took a little pinch. You know what I mean? And I just like to make money in little pinches, and I take a pinch here and a pinch there. Before you know it, I got a big pile of money.
Yeah.
And so I would do all my research at night. I would schedule all my trades in the morning, and then I would go to like some craft classes. I took a painting class. I did pottery. I just did all this crazy bohemian kind of stuff for like a whole year. And I rode my bike everywhere. I got in great shape. I worked out. I had this amazing little life for like a year until Uncle Sam decided I was having too much money. I was making too much. And he started to change the rules on how long you could have it, how you had to hold it. And it just became cost prohibitive. I lost my margins. Hey, it's okay. We've got trouble in paradise here at the Music Lab West Studios. That's what happens.
Growling dogs here.
Yes, the Prosperity Poochies are more concerned with what's going on outside the door in the construction zone than what's in here with their money management skills.
Well, we'll make it through.
Yeah, somehow we'll suffer through. Anyway, so that's our Mullah Word of the day. And so for the rest of the show, I'd like to kind of just do a Freedom Fest recap and then talk about what we're going to be doing next week, because we have an exciting shows, more than one, planned for you for next week. So last week was both the Atlas Society Summer Summit as well as Freedom Fest. And Freedom Fest is the largest liberty and economic conference in the world, and it's amazing. Let me just tell you. And I did a lot of interviews. I did a lot of interviews with politicians. We did like 30 plus interviews last week. Wow. I mean, I was up at 5 and I was hitting the sack around 1. So I was maybe getting 4 hours of sleep every night, because we'd get back to the room, but then we would have to dump audio and video off the chips. We'd have to organize everything. We'd have to make sure, we would have to test all our cables. We'd have to change batteries, charge batteries, make sure everything was ready to go for the next day. Right. So it was a lot of work. Plus I had speaking engagements. I spoke 4 times. They're outside of our book pre-launch party that we did for Money, Credit, and You. And that was amazing. We did an ice cream social. I was like, what kind of a party can we have, that doesn't conflict with the other events that everybody will want to come to? And so we picked at 4:30 on Thursday, we did an ice cream social.
Nice.
It was so great, and we had these great cakes. So check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com. Heather Wagenhals is the name of the channel. If you don't know how to spell my name, it's simple, but it's not as easy as one would think. And it's Wagenhals. So I like that my name has money in it. I've got wage in halls in my name. And so we just had an amazing time. So the Atlas Society Summer Summit is about the study and practice of open objectivism. As a philosophy, Ayn Rand created objectivism as a philosophy. And it's not just a political philosophy, it's truly a philosophy for life. And I got some really great interviews with some objectivists. I got the new CEO for the Atlas Society, Jennifer Anjou Grossman, and she's just one heck of an amazing dynamic lady. She is so into objectivism. Her license plate says Ayn Rand. Oh, wow. I just lost my producer. He just whacked his head on the keyboard. Ouch. You gonna make it okay?
Gonna do it again.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm fine.
Don't do that again.
I was just...
You know what my dad used to say? He has since passed, but whenever I would get into trouble, he would always say that based on my personality type, he figured that I would do things at least twice to make sure that it was fun the first time.
Yeah.
And then just in case I didn't have fun the first time because I didn't do it right, I'd do it again just to make sure.
Yeah. As long as it didn't hurt too much.
Yeah, that looked like you just took 2 chunks out of your head.
Yeah, it looked a lot worse than it was.
It is like right there in the parietal lobe, too.
Yeah. I
hope we don't have any significant damage from that. You still got some music to compose for us.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
So I spoke on the man of reason ideal. Is it achievable or is it idyllic? And I believe it's achievable. And the keys to riches is actually kind of based on objectivist philosophy. It wasn't an intentional thing, but if you look at each one of the keys, it's rooted in one of the pillars of objectivism, for sure. Mm-hmm. Because it's up to us to really create our financial freedom. It's not up to the government to subsidize our lives, and it's certainly not up to them to take everything from us. This redistribution of wealth thing is just absolutely unbelievable. It's asinine. And I've got an amazing interview for us to share. So I had people coming up to me, and I was interviewing folks that were in my different presentations, sharing what freedom meant to them. And I got some bone-chilling, blood-curdling interviews. This one woman, her name was Lee, and I can't remember her last name off the top of my head, but she was part of, the 1%ers in China that before socialism.
Right.
She was a kid. And
in the 60s, right?
Yes. She was born in the 50s. In the 60s, they came in, they seized all their property. If you were rich or famous or both, you were done.
Yeah.
So they came in.
Intellectuals, too.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah, like she'll tell us her story. It's bone-chilling. So she came from this lineage of famous, intellectual people, scientists, bankers, the whole deal.
Yeah.
So there was the Reds, which were the communists, and then there were the blacks, much like our blacks were segregated.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you went to the train station, you had to use separate bathrooms, you had to use separate lines to go through things. And if you were a black, you were allowed to be stoned. You were allowed to be spat upon. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and I don't want to give away too much of our interview, but next week we're going to be doing the 5 days of Freedom Fest, and we're going to have her interview as a feature interview. It's unreal what this woman went through, but what a testament to her resilience and her resolve. And she made it here, and she's actually afraid for us because there is nowhere else to go if we lose our freedoms here. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have personal freedom, we cannot have economic freedom. If we cannot achieve political freedom, we will never be able to be financially free because we're going to have people in government taking away what we rightfully earn. And when they take away what we've earned, they take away our desire to achieve, bottom line. Yeah. And we should be entitled to our own achievements. And if we, like in Atlas Shrugged, force all of the entrepreneurs and the idea makers and the producers, as they say in Atlas, to go on strike, who are we going to have money to take from? Because the bureaucrats are going to become the new bourgeoisie. And by golly, they're, just like they want to take our guns, they want to take our money, they want to take our stuff, our property that's rightfully ours. Hillary is hell-bent on getting rid of all the guns except for her people that protect her. They can have them. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. The purpose of us having guns was to rise up against an oppressive government.
Tyranny, yeah.
Not to hunt or fish or whatever, like people think. No, it's to rise up against an oppressive government and to surrender all of that. I mean, it's a slippery slope. That's the first thing that Hitler did. Took away all the guns. That's the first thing that, what was the guy, Mao? Was it Mao?
Mao Zedong, yeah.
I mean, I just think how fortunate I am to even have a Shar-Pei, because Shar-Peis were considered bourgeois dogs, and so they killed all the Shar-Peis over there.
Wow.
Like, we were lucky in the 80s when they were able to bring some here and actually start breeding them.
Huh.
It's just unfortunate. It's just heartbreaking. What happened?
Well, we don't have to get into it, but it does seem like the way society goes. It goes in that direction, that government, doesn't want to let us have, total freedom.
Well, and that's why our founding fathers, were insistent upon it. I mean, just think about what caused the revolt. It was over just a small tax, wasn't it 10 cents or something on the tea? It was a small tax. And, they have edged that up to where if you work your rear off and you become successful, and now remember, the threshold of success is only $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're considered rich at that point. Now, whether or not you at $250,000 feel rich, it's another point. That government has defined you as rich. How would you like somebody to come and just arbitrarily take everything? You're in the highest tax bracket. You're losing 40%, not including state.
Yeah.
If you live in California, between state and federal income tax, you take home less than what people take from you. And you should be enraged about that. Because the way to build wealth isn't just about earning it. It's about stopping government from taking it from you. And we really have to pay attention to that. Because that's an important thing. So that's why I like that Freedom Fest is about both liberty and economics, because without personal and political freedom, we can never have financial freedom, because the government will not allow us. So we have to really consider that for a moment. I met some really exciting and amazing people. We have a really great, on Unlock Your Wealth TV, we have a really great interview with Steve Forbes, editor-in-chief of Forbes magazine. He's pretty exciting. He gave us some really great wealth building tips and how to become wealthy. From the man who makes the list of the top wealthiest people, I would think that he might know a little something about money.
Probably knows what's on the list.
Yeah, so he knows how to get on the list for sure.
Yeah.
So he'll give us some great advice. So that we'll listen to him from Freedom Fest. We also have Shark Tank, former Shark Tank founder and star, Kevin Harrigan. We did an amazing interview with him, and so he talks about building wealth and how to invest. He gives us really great tips on investing, which was pretty exciting, I thought. This segment of Unlock Your Wealth Radio is sponsored in part by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with their special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners by visiting unlockyourwealthradio.com/keepmyid to click on the link to start your special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners and begin protecting your financial future right now. Remember to use promo code WAGS. So those are just two of some of the heavy hitter interviews. So we also have, I think I mentioned, Jennifer Grossman from the Atlas Society. We also have Wayne Allen Root. Now, this is a guy, when I heard him speak at the RLC that I went to last October, I was blown away by his personal story, because this guy, I think of myself as a scrapper. I grew up fighting. I had to fight because it was uncool to be a kid from a mother that was divorced with two kids. Being a single mom in the 70s was not cool. Plus, you were still discriminated against in the 70s. You could not get a loan. You could not buy anything without a man co-signing for you. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So it was a challenge. My brother, my younger brother, was always beat up. So my mom always made me go beat up the people that beat him up. So I was constantly in a fight about something or someone. I had to grow up learning how to fight. And Wayne tells this great story about how he was always beaten up. But the title of his book, which is so amazing, where he teaches you the power of relentless and about going after stuff. He gave a really, really exciting interview. We also interviewed Nicholas Sarwark, who is the president of the Libertarian Party. And he talks about how the movement is actually expanding. If you look at some of the numbers between what's going on in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, the Libertarian Party is actually gaining members, and specifically gaining millennials, because they're seeing the ramifications of some of their, spread the wealth kind of initiatives and how those aren't working. And they're seeing how they're getting gouged and taxed. So, Carrie Letts, our broadcast partner, Carrie Letts was amazing. For those of you who have heard him, he has the Financial Survival Network. We co-broadcasted out of the same booth. He's my buddy from Florida, and I guest appear on his shows a lot. He also, and also on the ID Theft Warriors. I'm always on their shows talking about how to protect your identity and what the latest fraud or scam is out there. And so I interview him because he is Mr. Investor. Like, he's got his fingers in like every financial investment pie there is. We've got Kenny Shern. So I've never had a rare coin guy on the show, because I am more of a person that is looking for not just capital appreciation, but cash flow. I'm all about making money on our assets. And those things, in order to get money out of them, you have to sell them if you want to get the value of the appreciation.
You have to hold on to them, too, for a long time, right?
Well, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
So we have a really great interview. He shows us, and this is on Unlock Your Wealth TV, too. He shows us the different types of coins you can invest in and how these things are tax deferred. The transfer of wealth with these things is unbelievable.
Cool.
And so I wasn't aware of it. And so he enlightens us. This is my first exposure. And he's thinking about being a potential sponsor for the show, too. So I'm pretty excited. So Kenny Shern, so we have a great interview with him. We kicked off the whole Freedom Fest. Our first interview was with co-founder Joanne Skousen, and also she's the one that started the Anthem Film Festival. And so what this does is this gives libertarian and free-minded movie and film producers and documentary people a place for their voices to be heard. And they actually have competitions. And one of the ones that won was amazing was Seized. And she actually was talking about how good it was in the interview. And Tom LaCastro made this film, and it was all about the illegal property seizure. An unwarranted property seizure. And it's so exciting, because she kind of was talking about this particular show as a highlight, when we asked her what movies that we should be paying attention to. He was one of them, and I was so excited to see him on stage. So he's a really great, filmmaker. Kim Sawyer, my buddy from the Atlas Society. So he's a wealth coach, but he approaches it from a different perspective. He's an executive and corporate coach. So he helps companies get their people's vision in line with what they do. And we had a really strong interview with him. And his tagline is, every person we touch walks away wealthier. And so I'm like, okay, Midas, stroke this shoulder here.
Yeah.
But so he was great. So we had him. We also had Dale Ledbetter, Paul Dykowitz. I'm looking on the list. I can't see it. We also interviewed this really great lady, and her name was, and Carrie was gone, so it's not on my list, but her name was Gina, and I can't think of her last name. Anyway, she brokered the deal for DirecTV to be sold to AT&T. She has 2,500 units, real estate rental units, and she's building her portfolio. And what I find that's interesting, if you look at some of the people who have built incredible wealth in particular industries where they hold their wealth after they sell out. And I look at Bob Parsons as another one. He built his wealth with GoDaddy, one of the largest internet providers and domain name hosts and places to register your domain, registrars, as the case may be. He built his wealth, and he lives here in Arizona. So what we have seen since he sold out is he's moved his wealth from the sale of GoDaddy into real estate. And Gina has done the same with what she does. And she also teaches financial seminars. She teaches people how to build wealth also, which is what is so amazing. But I'm finding that the more and more people I interview and the more people that have made their wealth in one area always return curiously to real estate as their investment vehicle of choice for their personal wealth outside of their businesses. So I think that that's something that interesting that we need to follow up on. But yes, so be sure to tune in next week where we are going to do the 5 days of Freedom Fest. And we're going to feature all of these small vignette interviews in our radio show. If my producer survives this show, because he just whacked himself again on the keyboard. Michael, we might not have, the maestro of Mullah is bleeding out as we speak, so I should probably end this show.
I'm trying to keep these dogs from barking.
So he's playing on the floor with the dogs, and he keeps getting up and whacking himself. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Remember to tune in next week for our 5 Days of Freedom Fest interviews. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and for the injured maestro of Mullah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2016 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.